The first radio came to Fontem in 1952, brought in by P.M. Kemcha. Yes, he lived in Kumba and also studied in Nigeria. And when he came home in 1952, he brought a radio. Now, it's interesting. He kept the radio in their compound and had a bamboo pole where he made a connection from the pole to his set in the house. And we used to see him tune and talk. It was all talking English, and he could give dances. And many of us did not understand the English. So mostly he was the one who was understanding what was being said. Then at home we were warned by our parents not to call his name, because he has an instrument which if you call his name he will hear. So people could not call Kemcha's name in private because he will hear from their compound. The second radio came again in 1957 when late Martin Forjo, the father of the present parliamentarian Bernard Forjo, his father was headmaster of the Catholic school for them, went to Mamfe in 1957, the close end of 1957, and brought a radio. And this was very useful to him because that was the political period in Cameroon where Foncha, Ndele, and he himself hadn't been a parliamentarian. He was getting information on politics. But the only station that he had at the time was the NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation. I can remember Nicholas Adengwa making a speech on behalf of Foncha about the unification issue, that if they vote for the KNDP, Cameroon will be unified. I bought my first radio in 1966 when I was teaching in Seed of Wisdom. I had left Cass Bambili, then came and was posted to start Seed of Wisdom. While I was going up, I bought my first radio, Philips. At that time now, there was already Radio Boya, and I can remember it was from my radio that I got the announcement of the election of the founder of Fontem into the House of Chiefs. And I ran and told him, the Pa shouted, I said, no, Radio Boya has announced. And we used to get to radio from Radio Yaoundé and so on. At that time, there were many radios back home. It was looked upon as a thing of book people, you see, the literate group. Because first, it was a bit expensive. Secondly, it was in English. There were no vernacular programs. So only those who understood English and those more civilized, more people of a standard, of a certain grade, could afford radios. Especially with the younger people, those the teachers who had left college and were teaching in Fontem, the younger people, they would get their small radios and batteries and move around. And they were looked upon, especially by girls, as people belonging to a special group of people.
I had the opportunity not only of growing in a home where there was a radio, which was a privilege because not every home could afford a radio back then. And secondly, I was very much exposed to the radio because I was one of the few people who could see what was inside the radio. You know, contrary to what many people believe, that there was a small man talking inside the huge box. Because what you should take note is that radios back then were very huge, big. And it's only when it was opened that you found that there was very little inside. And so we had the privilege to know that the radio had transistors and all that inside, and you had a speaker and other gadgets that were responsible for the production of all what we were getting. And so we had this beautiful experience because the radio was a phenomenon back then. The radios then were not portable, indeed. That's the first thing, Jomo, because there was no small radio. The smallest size was the size of a mini portmanteau, as they called them. They were not that small, but the fact is that people moved around with their radio sets whenever there was an important event. And you could imagine the crowd they could pull around, depending on the area they were, because many people would love to follow what was going on since it was important. And many homes, that's the first thing people should take note. Many homes could not afford a radio set. So you can imagine if somebody had a radio set and there was an important event, how important that family was for the community.